Hello, and welcome back to Speak It Like a Pro, the podcast that helps you master languages and make them a part of your everyday life. I'm Adam, and today, we're diving into something truly powerful, building the perfect daily routine for language learning. Over the next several minutes, I'm going to take you step by step through every part of the day, giving you real strategies and tips to make language learning feel natural, effective, and, most importantly, enjoyable. Part 1. The morning routine. Morning is an ideal time to set the tone for your language learning journey. Here, I'll walk you through how to get your brain into language mode from the moment you wake up. Setting a language-friendly environment. Right from the start, one of the best ways to immerse yourself is to surround yourself with language cues. Imagine this. You wake up, and the first thing you see is a motivational phrase or a list of common expressions in the language you're learning. It could be as simple as "good morning" in your target language, or perhaps a positive quote that reminds you why you're doing this. Pro tip: print out a list of basic greetings and expressions and tape it to your nightstand. Every morning, take a moment to read through them aloud. This not only reinforces your vocabulary, but gives you a mental boost as you see your growing familiarity with the language. Creating a language practice habit. Over breakfast time is perfect for some light listening or reading practice. Here's an idea. While you're preparing your breakfast, put on a podcast in your target language. It doesn't have to be something you understand completely. Even having it on in the background gives your mind a chance to absorb the language passively. For example, if you're learning Italian, find an Italian news podcast. Don't worry if you don't catch every word. Focus on the rhythm and flow of the language. This helps train your brain to process unfamiliar sounds, which is critical for understanding spoken language. Suggested listening. Try starting with podcasts or YouTube channels for language learners, which are often slower and use simpler language. Some popular channels for beginners offer daily vocabulary lessons or conversational phrases that you can mimic. Morning vocabulary review with flashcards. Let's talk about flashcards, a timeless method that, when used correctly, is a powerhouse for building vocabulary. But here's a tip to make it even more effective. Use a technique called active recall. This means instead of just flipping through cards, try to recall the word or phrase before you check the answer. This way, you actively engage with the material. Imagine you're learning Japanese. Create flashcards that feature not only the word but also a picture or sentence using that word. For example, if your word is neko, cat, try making a card with an image of a cat and a simple sentence like "Neko wa kawaii desu," the cat is cute. This reinforces both the word and its practical use in a sentence. Bonus tip: use spaced repetition with an app like Anki. These apps remind you of words just before you're likely to forget them, making memorization more efficient and long-lasting. Part 2. Building language. Learning into your midday routine. Midday is a great time to continue your language learning without it feeling too intense. Here are ways to incorporate brief language breaks into your afternoon. Flashcards and micro-review sessions. During lunch or another short break, pull out your flashcards for a quick review. Even just 5 minutes of refreshing your memory can help solidify those words and phrases you reviewed earlier. It's the consistency that counts here, not the time spent. Example. Activity. Choose a small set of words, say 10, that you reviewed this morning, and use each one in a sentence out loud. You could say, "This is my coffee," in Spanish, or "Esta es mi café," while holding your coffee. Make it fun and practical. Language app. Practice apps like Duolingo, Babbel, and Memories are designed for moments like this. But here's a suggestion. Don't just click through lessons. Actively say each word or phrase aloud as you go through the lesson. By involving your vocal cords, you're reinforcing the language on a physical level, which helps make it stick. Example. Phrase practice. If you're using Babbel to learn French, take phrases like "Je voudrais un café," I'd like a coffee, and repeat them with different tones. Say it faster, slower, with a question intonation. This variation strengthens your flexibility in using phrases naturally. Short reading sessions with practical material. Another way to incorporate midday practice is through short reading. Pick a simple article, a blog post, or even a menu in your target language. The goal here isn't deep study, it's to get used to reading and recognizing words in a real-world context. Suggested activity. If you're learning Spanish, try reading a brief article on BBC Mundo. Focus on identifying words you already know. For any unfamiliar word, use context clues to guess the meaning before looking it up. This builds your intuition for understanding the language without relying solely on translation. Part 3. Afternoon Deep Dive Session. Let's dedicate some time to more intense study. By the afternoon, you might have an hour or two that you can set aside for focused practice. This is where we get more detailed. Grammar exercises and sentence building. Grammar is often the backbone of understanding a language, but it doesn't have to be boring. Break down one concept a day. For example, if you're studying German, focus on cases or verb endings. Start small, pick one rule and apply it in several sentences. Example. Activity. Let's say you're learning the German accusative case. Choose simple nouns and practice using them with accusative articles. Write sentences like Ich sehe den Hund, I see the dog, focusing on correct article usage. Repeat this with different nouns to solidify the concept. Listening. Practice with focused content. Try to find audio content on a topic you enjoy. For instance, if you love cooking, find a recipe in your target language. Listen carefully to each instruction, pausing and repeating phrases. This is not only fun but gives you practical vocabulary you can use. Example. Activity. If you're learning Italian, pick an Italian cooking video. Try repeating each step aloud. Taglia le cipolle. Cut the onions. This not only builds vocabulary, but makes the learning process more hands-on. Speaking practice with self-recording. If you don't have a conversation partner, recording yourself can be a great way to practice. Choose a topic, like introducing yourself, describing your day, or talking about a recent trip, and record a short monologue. Play it back and listen for any areas that sound unnatural. Pro tip. To make it more effective, listen to a native speaker talking about the same topic first, then try to mimic their intonation and phrasing. This way, you're learning both content and delivery. Part 4. Evening Review and Relaxation. As the day winds down, let's wrap up with a gentle review. This is a time for reflection, reinforcement, and some relaxed immersion. Reviewing the day's vocabulary. Use your evening to go over everything you learned throughout the day. Revisit any flashcards, reread your notes, or try to use each word or phrase you learned in a sentence. Light listening or watching. Before bed, as a final practice, consider ending your day with something light in your target language. A short show, a podcast, or even an audiobook. Suggested activity. If you're learning English, watch an episode of a beginner-friendly show like Speak It Like a Pro. On our channel, Lingi Mastery, this gives you exposure to conversational language and is a relaxed way to end the day. So, there you have it, a complete day-long routine for language learning. Remember, consistency is more powerful than intensity. Even small, daily actions add up over time and can bring you closer to fluency. Thank you for tuning in to Speak It Like a Pro. Whether you're just starting out or refining your skills, I hope today's tips inspire you to create a routine that makes language learning a natural part of your day. Until next time, keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, the key to mastering a language is showing up every day. See you in the next episode, and happy learning!
Thanks for listening to Speak It Like a Pro. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share. Keep practicing, and remember, you're closer to fluency every day. See you next time.